Welcome to the Mr. Skin Podcast, your weekly dose of what's new and what's nude in movies, TV, and Hollywood's sexiest stars. Now get ready for your host, the world's foremost authority on celebrity nudity, Mr. Skin.
The legendary Mr. Skin.
Dude, Mr. Skin.
MrSkin.com.
Skin, everybody.
Coast to coast from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, it's the Mr. Skin Podcast with your hosts, Mr. Skin and Andrea Lowell. We want to hear from you. Call the show and leave us a voicemail at 484-SKIN-POD. Find all things Mr. Skin Podcast online at MrSkinPodcast.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 83 of the Mr. Skin Podcast, sponsored by MyFaveSexCams.XXX, the biggest and best list of sex cam reviews on the web. My Fave Sex Cams is run by the reliable cam concierge Paul, who spent countless hours combing through cam sites and picking out the best for the rest of us. That's MyFaveSexCams.XXX. Welcome to the show. Hey, Skin.
Hey, Andrea. How are you?
Fantastic. A little bummed I didn't get to do my homework this weekend and watch Shameless, so I'm having fingers crossed that you got something for me.
Because of the Super Bowl last night.
The fucking Super Bowl.
Nobody aired stuff because, everyone knew everyone would be watching the Super Bowl, so you're fine. Yeah.
Wasn't the previous weekend like the Grammys or some bullshit like that too?
Yeah, but that they aired last week, so yeah.
Okay.
You're good. Now, what does an Andrea do for the Super Bowl? Because I know you're not eating chicken wings and nachos and stuff. So
the previous me was, topless, smashing my titties together with football helmets, body painted on, and rubbing guacamole all over myself.
Did you go to like Playboy parties for the Super Bowl and stuff?
Oh my God, Playboy parties, bar hopping, you name it. I used to be a big Niners fan, believe it or not, and
the 69ers or the 49ers.
The 69ers, baby. But yeah, I just kind of grew out of it. I grew apart from those friends. And, yesterday, I'm so lame. I was working. I was training clients at a gym. And it's so cool because I forgot it was even the Super Bowl. And I had a couple of people cancel. And I go, they're probably just canceling because of the flu. And then I was like, it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Exactly.
I'm such a dork.
Yeah.
So I really did nothing.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. You're not a huge sports fan anyway.
I'm not a big football fan, and I just kind of feel too, like at this point in my life, like I've done Super Bowl, I've been at every Playboy Super Bowl party at the Super Bowl. I'm talking Dallas, Arizona, like you name it, I've been there. It's like once you do that, how do you like party at home after that?
Right.
So I kind of just let it go.
Yeah, no, and I know you're not a sports fan, but you are a ball fan.
I love balls.
You love balls. So
there's nothing better on the planet than luscious balls.
I say that all the time. I say that all the time.
Amazing. God's gift.
Yeah, no, well, good for you. Yeah, I was, we were at the Skin family was at a party at a family in our town, and a bunch of people were there, and
That's
I just
fun.
ate crazy. So anyway, it's hopefully start to eat a little better, but it's just, you can't go to a Super Bowl party and not eat a ton of crap. That's just the way it is. So, but yeah,
it's true.
And for what I do, while I was watching the Super Bowl, I didn't really miss much because there really wasn't much on television last night. But we have 2 weeks of nudity to get to, and there's actually, I have some really huge news to get to, but I want to start, Andrea, with a movie that came out in theaters October 13th.
Okay.
And now came out on Blu-ray last week. It's called, and this is really interesting, I didn't know the backstory on this. It's called Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. And it came out on Blu-ray last week. It's about the psychologist William Moulton Marston, and his relationship with his wife and this mistress, and it actually would inspire his creation of the super heroine Wonder Woman, which is really incredible. It's really a fascinating story. Yeah.
Wait, that's crazy. So he took the two characters and fused them together to make like Wonder Woman? His wife and the mistress?
Yeah, it's an interesting story. They all live together.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, it is. And they had a relationship. And interesting side note, he supposedly invented the lie detector. This is a sharp dude.
What?
And yeah, I know. And it inspired the comic book Wonder Woman. And then that, of course, went on to be Linda Carter and the whole phenomenon we have today. But really interesting movie. But the interesting thing is he lived with the woman, he lived with his wife and then this other, girl that it was the inspiration for Wonder Woman. And the characters in this is, the guy is, what the hell's Luke Evans.
Okay.
And Rebecca Hall and Bella Heathcote. Rebecca Hall was his wife, and Bella Heathcote. And there's a scene about 49 minutes in, a menage that is just very hot. Now, it's not eligible for my Anatomy Awards coming up in a few weeks because it's, we just got it out on Blu-ray, but we'll get to it next one. But this is definitely going to be one of the hottest menages of the year. And Rebecca Hall, you might remember the movie Vicky Cristina Barcelona. She was Vicky in that.
Oh, okay.
Because there was like Scarlett Johansson, Penelope Cruz, and that other woman that was Rebecca Hall, who's really gorgeous. She did a great nude scene in a movie called Wide Sargasso Sea, and she has some real nice nudity in this, and the sexy scene with Bella Heathcote. Now, Bella Heathcote did some nice stuff in a movie called Neon Demon. She's Australian, blonde. She was in the 50 Shades Darker movie, so she's not afraid of a little skin here and there. But yeah, the scene is really good, and it's out on Blu-ray. It's called Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman, and it's Woman, and it's a really nice scene and sexy movie, and stuff I didn't know about. I guess they were even in the BDSM, this guy. So I kind of dig this dude. He's smart. He gets menages, and
he's kinky.
And he's kinky as hell. That's definitely a movie you want to check out. Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman.
Aspirational.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I wanted to get to TV stuff because we have this huge news and stuff we're really excited about at MrSkin.com. So there's this new Netflix series that I want to introduce you to, Andrea, that you're going to love. It's called Altered Carbon is the name of this new Netflix series. It came out, I believe it was on Friday, before Super Bowl weekend. And my guys go through every episode. There's 10 episodes to this Altered Carbon. Now, okay, so it's based on a 2002, like a cyberpunk science fiction novel by Richard K. Morgan. And it's set in the future. I'm going to confuse the hell out of you with this, but basically it's, it's set in the future in which interstellar travel is affected by transferring consciousnesses between bodies, and they call them sleeves. Yeah, it's a little technical.
I like this.
Yeah, well, it follows the attempt. Now, the main guys is Takashi Kovacs. Is played by Joel Kinnaman. You might know him from House of Cards. He played Will Conway. He was also in the RoboCop reboot. That's a big thing he was in. Joel Kinnaman, good-looking guy. And he plays a former UN elite soldier turned private investigator, and he's investigating a rich man's death. Now, I got to tell you, first of all, this is getting some pretty good reviews. It's a very big budget Netflix threw at this thing, and it's very well done. And our guys went through season 1, Andrea, and were blown away by the amount of nudity. In fact, my head content guy, Joey, said in the 10 years working for Mr. Skin, he's never gone through a season of television that was this good as far as nude babes. I think we said there were 6 different actresses that went full frontal. And not like, these aren't huge names, but like Kristen Lehman's one of them. She was from the ABC TV show Motive. All the girls are gorgeous. There's even this fight scene in one of the episodes where the name's hard to pronounce. Ditchin Lachman and
I'm like, who is she? She looks a little familiar to me, but I can't tell.
Yeah, we were looking. We couldn't really. I was trying to figure out a way to like share with you who she was, and she's not a huge name, but really sexy. And this Martha Higarita, who's one of the main characters, who also did some great nudity in this, on this show, got in this fight. This crazy fight where Ditchin, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, Dishan Lachman was not only completely nude for the fight with Martha Higarita, but then like 7 of the same exact same woman naked, Deitch and Lachman, end up being in the fight. They just keep getting shot. It's just a crazy stuff. But all these different girls get naked, and I tried to like put a list together for you of all this nudity, but
it was just too much.
I have it here for a sheet, but I mean, it'd take 2 hours to look at all the nude scenes from this first season. And like I can
tell everyone what I'm looking at right now, just like what you have shared with me. It's absolutely incredible, and it's a lot of variety. Like, you mentioned all these different full frontals. It's so true, but they're all so different. All the actresses look so different. There's hot lingerie, there's sex scenes, like you said, fighting. I mean, this is off the hook. And even like, aside from the nudity, the show sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, it is. Like I said, it's getting good reviews. I was watching the Super Bowl last night, and they had an ad for Westworld season 2.
Yes.
That'll be out April 22nd. And we were thinking that I just was assuming that the Deuce and Westworld were going to be always
reigning supreme.
Well, right, will be the shows fighting for best TV show for nudity, but Altered Carbon just made the list, and this has to be considered with one of the great shows. If this first season is any indication, let's have lots more seasons, because this is really going to be great stuff. So it's exciting. It's called Altered Carbon, and everyone at MrSkin.com is very, very excited about it.
As am I.
Well, you'll see me probably talking to you more about this, but just the nudity dump at MrSkin.com today of all these scenes, because it literally took from Friday all weekend and Monday to get to all of this, to get it into our website. So anyway, Altered Carbon, new one. That's the big news this week I wanted to share. All right, Andrea, let's talk about our sponsor for today.
Let's do it.
Well, we've been talking about Paul the last couple of weeks, and he and I seem to have a little in common in the sense that he's a reviewer of adult content. Mm-hmm. I am a reviewer of celebrity nudity from movies and television, and we've known about Paul for a long time. And he's the concierge and creator behind My Fave SexCams.XXX and VR porn sites .XXX, and we've got him on the air right now. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Paul.
Well, yeah, that is Andrea, the co-host of the podcast, and we have a couple questions for you because, and I know I'm sure our listeners do too. But my first thing I always think when I talk to guys that are successful in the adult business is, how the hell did you get in the adult business to begin with?
It's a funny question, because you always find out it's never anyone's first option. It's always their second, or maybe even fifth.
Yeah, in other words, you didn't go to high school and college to get into the adult space, is what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Paul, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, I want to be in porn. I want to be a concierge of adult content. But it is a dream, and it's a dream that came true. So tell us about how you got into it.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, weird enough, I was next door neighbors with Rabbit from Rabbit's Reviews. I think you guys know him. And it was one of those things. I knew him, and we just exchanged pleasantries or what have you. And one day I found out what it was he actually did for a living. And like the question I'm sure everyone gets, I'm sure you got it too at the very beginning. It's like, you get paid to do that?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Right.
And then just, one thing led to another. I was explaining my own interests in certain things in adult cams in particular. And one day he just sort of asked me, he's like, hey, so how much do you really know about cams or want to know about cams? And I was a little sheepish at first, but I told him, I know a lot. And so I thought he was actually going to ask me to write for him, to write cam reviews, which I ultimately did at one point. And he's just like, hey, you should, start your own site. You should do a site that covers all this stuff. And I was always worried I was going to sort of step on his toes. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to jump into his business. And to be quite frank, I didn't even know it. I didn't know where to begin, how to start. So he gave me a space in his office and just kind of held my hand, and that's kind of how My Fave Sex Cams came about.
That's so sweet.
That was right. No, it's very nice. It's a nice story. But that was one of the questions I had of what was your tie-in to Rabbit's Reviews, because we've known those guys, for a long time too. So that's pretty cool. But why cam sites and VR porn? Like, why is that a focus of yours? I'm just curious about that.
Well, cams is just more, there's I'm sure there's a lot of people listening to this who have probably maybe never tried cams or maybe considered it, but didn't want to kind of go through the morass of figuring out how to do it, give your credit card and all that kind of stuff. I can tell you though, VR and cams are very much the same in that it's one of those things like the first couple times you try it or the first time you instantly get it, And the first time I tried a campsite, it was 2001, 2002, something very, very early.
Wow.
It had to be. It's so different than it is today.
Oh, absolutely. Back in the day, those real players were still big and grainy footage.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that back in the day where the girl had to be behind a window and you had to be standing in front of it?
Yes. Yeah.
That's how antiquated it had to be. Right?
A lot of buffering. If someone moved just a bit too fast, it could all go to shit.
Yeah. Right. That's so funny. All right.
It's all about making that connection, though. It's once you sort of you have a bit of fun with it and you kind of relax and you find performers who kind of match your taste or what you're into. It's addictive. I mean, it's like you. It's kind of why I dedicated my life to it.
Yeah, no, that's great, and that's I always wonder because Andrea and I talk about it a lot that we just think that camming's just
it's the
where
future. It's everything.
Yeah, it's like just being at the ABN show and seeing the just all the interest in the cam girls, how popular they are. They've really replaced porn stars, in my opinion. And as far as from a business perspective, I think if I had a choice, if I was a girl, to choose between camming and porn, being in movies and such, I'd do the camming. It just seems better, and I could tell by the interest in the guys at the shows and just who the big companies today are in adult that camming's where it's at.
Oh, absolutely. I think a big element to that is, well, a lot of cams, especially on your ChatterBaits and, sort of free cam kind of sites, there's a lot of group shows, but I think the real allure for people and these, camp performers and why they have such a following is that when you go into a private room, 9 times out, it's just you and her.
Right.
It's very much a one-on-one connection. It's the kind of time and attention you just don't get with porn stars. Right. I mean, a lot of porn stars do cam, and a lot of cam stars have made their way into porn. It's kind of a lot of cross-breeding, but it's that one-on-one connection that really separates it from anything else.
And how do you make? How do you look at a lot of stuff? So for my fave sex cams and VR porn sites, how do you decide which make the cut for your review list? How do you know which ones to review?
Well, VR porn sites is actually a lot simpler. I was a early adopter on VR. I bought an alpha build of the Oculus Rift in, I think it was 2012, 2013 when they made one available, putting on a waiting list and all that stuff. So in some respects, VR porn sites came a lot easier, and there's only been true adult sites on VR for maybe about 3 years. So the library itself is actually quite small. So pretty much any brand new membership-driven adult website gets added, and it's a lot easier to view cams. However, as you know, it can be a lot more difficult. There's there's literally hundreds of different sites, but ultimately there's a sort of base number platform, if you will, of a small number of platforms that are all serving the same sort of model. So that's kind of one of the things we do on My Fave is to sort of kind of separate the good from the bad. It can be tricky at this point. Now that people know about the site, a lot of people ask, hey, review us, and it can get a little difficult. Ultimately, the big thing that's important for us is what's best for the user. We try to just untangle as much confusion as possible, because there is a lot of confusion because a lot of sites have their own payment system. Yeah. Sometimes you got to pay per minute. Sometimes you have to buy tokens. It's a whole thing. So the big things we focus on are which campsites offer the most models. And if they don't offer a lot of models, do they cater to a specific niche? We have Asian cams and trans cams and fetish cams and things of that nature. So that's actually, in some ways, that's actually kind of a big part of my day, month, is determining what goes on, what goes off.
And how does a typical day of yours look like? Because, Mr. Skin and his skin staff, they have so much content to go through all the time. Is it the same for you with camming and VR?
Yeah, well, camming's, it's a passion project, if you will.
Right on.
So it's a lot easier. Day starts around 8 or 9, kind of roll in here to the office, and then I spend 8 or 9 hours with a daily budget of $200 or $300, and sometimes more if it strikes me, and just kind of visit a bunch of campsites. I have an agenda of sites I need to, cover, see what's up, what's going on, who's new, who's not.
Is it strictly business, or do you get to enjoy yourself?
Well, let's put it this way. Here, Rabbit kindly gave me some space here in his office.
Nice.
So here it's on the up and up. But if I decide to kind of do a little home reviewing, then that's a whole different story.
Attaboy.
That's great. So, yeah, Paul, last question. Any favorite cam performers we need to know about?
Well, yeah, I'm a little sheepish to admit this, but when I was 14 years old, that whole Joey Buttafuoco, Amy Fisher thing.
Yes.
And I was 14, she was 17. She's now one of the biggest camp performers online, and I will say that I've enjoyed many of her shows. I would say she's top. She's great. She's great at what she does.
Wow.
Good to know.
I would not have guessed that, but what a pleasant surprise. So, all right, Paul, it was really cool getting to know you and talk to you today. And for everyone out there listening to the podcast right now, if you haven't checked out Paul's amazing review sites, check out myfavsexcams.xxx and vrpornsites.xxx. That's myfavsexcams.xxx and vrpornsites.xxx. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you very much.
There's some other cool shows. One of the things I think I talked to you about is, how television is, not only are there a ton of shows with nudity, but I'm seeing like NC-17 level nudity on, high maintenance, for example, and easy. And, we're seeing guys with half hards. We're seeing jizz. We're seeing masturbation. We're seeing crazy stuff. But the other thing is like, with Amazon and Netflix getting into the game is these are like big budget shows. So there's another one that was just released, another show that they just came out with that has a damn good budget is from Amazon. It's called Britannia season 1, and they just released it last week, and it's set in 43 AD, and it's following the Roman army as they attempt to conquer this Britannia. It's a mysterious land, but it's ruled by like Celts and tribes of warrior women and powerful druids. And originally what I had heard, what this is going to be Amazon's rebuttal to Game of Thrones, with lots of sex and stuff. Now, it has nudity, but not as much as we were kind of hoping for. But there was this one scene in particular with this Annabelle Sholey, who isn't a big name actress or anything, but wow, what a great wreck. I don't know if you could see this, Andrew.
Oh, I can see it. I can see it.
She's really, really hot. And when I do Best Breasts for next Anatomy Awards in next year, these will definitely be in consideration for Best Breasts. They're fantastic. Yeah,
they're amazing, and she's really pretty too. My only issue is it's like, I love new shows that are full of nudity, but I don't like it when opposing networks or platforms try to like match something or come up with something. It's like nothing's gonna be Game of Thrones. Like,
you don't just come on the scene and be Game of Thrones. You got to earn that. And
that's a big one.
But this Britannia, it's like, so there was tons of sex in it. I'm just wondering, like, pretty soon a show either on Netflix, Amazon, or HBO is going to have full penetration. I mean,
dude,
we are going there. I mean,
and who's going to be the actors that are going to do it? I mean, it is going to be sooner than later. This is just the way the world is going. It's nuts.
Yeah, it really is. It's crazy. And when we were watching that scene from High Maintenance last week, where the brothers were like, so they had her in the bathroom where one's eating asshole and one's eating bush, and it's like, I mean, that's HBO. I mean, the only thing left is full penetration. It's coming, right? So we'll see. It's no pun intended. It's coming. So yeah. Anyway, so that's a new show, Britannia. I wanted to talk to you about.
And now it's time for our Cam Star Spotlight of the Week. We have the beautiful, tattooed, blonde babe, Sheena Rose. Hi, gorgeous.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
It is so cool to talk to you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
She showed us her bird tattoo.
I know. Yeah. We were talking about pain, and we were talking about the nips and the areola and how you would never go near those with a needle.
No, I can't even get them pierced. My nipples are so fucking sensitive, man. Literally when a guy tries to suck my nipples, it's embarrassing because I'm like, stop.
Now, was it always that way? Because I feel my nipples get more sensitive as I age.
Maybe, because I don't...
Really?
Yes, when I was younger, you could like chew it off and like it was, I loved it really rough. And now I'm like, ah.
I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah.
I think like when I was young as a teenager, I was kind of embarrassed about my nipples because they're like perfect and but they're like puffy.
They look niptastic
you know,
to me.
they're like puffy.
Oh, they're
see?
perfect.
Yeah,
She just showed us
Those
them.
are bomb.
Yeah.
Now, you know,
and I was
Those are
embarrassed because they
niptastic.
were like they're puffy, and I was embarrassed by guys to like think something, weird.
You know, it's so funny how we have these preconceived notions of what we think is like right or wrong or what guys like. But the fact is, when you're as banging as you are, guys
Aw.
like anything that's attached to you. And
I know. It's
the
so true.
so me, what you don't know about me and Skin, because I'm assuming you don't listen to our podcast every week. We get
You have a life.
We get deep into nipple talk. We
Really?
talk
Yes.
about, we have different names for all different types of nips. We think you definitely have nip-tastic nips, and you
Oh my
also
God.
have very close to a paleola, where the areola is not too far off shade-wise from the color
Oh
of
my
your
God,
breast.
you call it a paleo?
Paleo.
Yes.
We
I love
coined
it.
that. We
Yes,
coined that.
and you
I love
do. They're
it.
like a really pretty, like
Thank you.
light pink.
Yes, and like as a teenager when I started first having sex, I would be embarrassed because I knew they were like big.
Guys love that shit, girl.
Yeah. And then I would also be embarrassed because I would get like super wet, and I'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, my pussy's so wet.
Okay,
Like,
so question for Skin, is wetter better? Because I've always wondered this, because I'm wet as hell too.
super wet.
Yeah, it is. It makes
yes,
yes.
way better.
it makes for smooth sailing, Andrea.
Yes. Well, like I know, like the wetter you get, I mean, obviously it loosens up more.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you kind of wonder because, I mean, it feels better for us.
Yeah.
The wetter we get.
Yeah.
So Sheena, she had a really great boy-girl career, and recently she decided to become a cam star, and
Yes.
Streammate is so lucky to have you.
I love StreamMate.
Now
I
let's
love
talk
'em.
about what you do and why you love camming so much.
I love Cameo. Okay, I love StreamMate. Like, I love the whole, like, how I can go into exclusives and have one-on-ones
Yeah.
and privates. And I make, like, the best clients that have the most dopest fetishes, sometimes very weird, sometimes, but, they all, like,
I know our next question.
Yeah, like, nobody should be made to feel like they don't deserve like a service.
I agree.
Because of their whatever they like.
I agree.
You know?
Okay, so what are the weird ass fetishes that you service your clients
That
with?
I've seen. Okay, this is a story that I tell literally everybody because I know nobody has this unless they have the same guy
Okay.
that comes to them.
This
All
is a
right.
one-off.
One guy, one
Fingers
type
crossed
of dude.
he listens to the show and feels
Yes.
like major shout out right now.
Yeah, he'll be like, I'm like so occupied by this hot ass guy right here.
Oh, the guy by the stripper pole that's
Yes,
stroking his beard.
I'm like, can you not be in front of me looking like that?
You know what?
We could have that one guy move so you could see him better.
What's the wet factor? Then we'll decide if it's worth it or not.
On a scale of 1 through 10.
10 being sopping wet.
Oh yeah, man. If his dick was in me, I'd probably be like an 11.
All right, fetish talk. I want to know.
Okay, yeah. So there was this guy, and he would come to me like weekly or bi-weekly. Came to me very often, very frequently, and he would turn on his cam. And
I'm like already laughing. I don't
yeah,
know.
like oh my god, he would
This
turn
is
on.
not going to go well.
He would turn on his cam, and he would wear like white cotton panties to wear like if you spread them, you can see what's going on in there. And he would shit in his white cotton panties. Yeah,
I was not expecting
No,
that.
yeah, but like here's the thing: is
Got
he
a
would
porno girl.
and here's the thing: he would take it out. He would
what out? The
his
shit?
shit,
Oh.
and he would eat it. And literally, without touching his dick, he would come. Like, after he ate it and chewed it all up and put it in his mouth, he would instantly nut.
Wow.
Without touching his dick.
Okay.
And,
All right.
and all I had to do was just sit there and be like, oh, that's so hot, baby.
Skin-
Like, I love that
okay,
so much.
You've known me for, I don't
I know
know,
we're-
12 years.
we are not-
Have you ever seen
no.
me go like this in
Yeah.
my life?
Oh, my.
You are always
Choking myself.
you never have a problem with a fetish, but you just had your first problem.
Man, I know that's that guy. The only time another girl sees that is with that guy.
Now, I am a nutritionist, and I need to know, have you talked to this guy about what he's eating? Like,
no way.
what's going in before it comes out, before it goes back in?
I'm trying to get in and out of there.
I'm hoping it's like pineapple or something. Okay.
Right, like some good fruits, like strawberry or something.
The look on Skin's face is saying, let's move it on. Yeah. I think we're going from kill the boner, get the boner, kill the boner. So let's bring the boner back.
Let's get the boner back.
I'm going to do my best.
How are you shaved right now?
I am waxed. I'm all cleaned up right now. I'm never getting a fucking wax again.
What? What are you gonna do? Laser?
I think I'm just gonna stick to like
bush.
My life. Like just bush and then shave and clean it up, because the waxing, man, I almost died. It hurt so bad.
Yeah.
And then I got like a little rash thing, and I had to spend all night fixing it, and I was like, I'm good on this.
No, I'm just going to tell the guys that are listening that are like, I don't want to hear about this. You need to know this is the work and the lengths we go to make you happy.
Yes.
So if you are eating some muff and you come across a little razor rash, be grateful that we went to these lengths to trim it up because we love you.
Yes, it's sensitive as fuck.
Now, I want to ask you one more question. I'll let you go because you got a lot going on today. What is your favorite thing to do on cam on streammate.com?
As weird as it sounds, I love the exclusive, like, one-on-one shows.
Yeah.
And I like anything, even on the phone, cam to cam, whatever they want and like, I just love making sure that they have, like, they're happy. And every time I do a show, I always try to do it better each time, which is why I have, like, the same exact people come to me every time. Yeah. I get new people every day, too, but I always, like, I know who is who. I know their name. I know what they like. I know, I'm just like, all right, let's do what we do, baby.
I think that is beautiful.
Does that include the shitter?
Apparently.
He's been gone for a really long time, like over a year.
Find a new shitmate.
He did. A shitmate. You're hilarious. I don't know, but it's not me no more. It's not me anymore.
Okay, well, he pooped out. You know what? Shitmate, if you're listening, we're making a plea right now. Come back to Sheena Rose. She loves you. She misses you, and she does it better. She waxes her pussy for you.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Sheena Rose. She is the girl who's working harder than anyone I've heard in the damn business.
Oh my gosh.
Visit her on Streammate. We'll see you next time, babe.
Thank you so much for having me.
Take care.
Bye.
There's also a new show from the Stars Network that I've had a number of people mention. I was doing some radio shows. People were talking about. I heard even Howard Stern. They were talking. Ralph that called in and was raving about Counterpart, which is a new Stars show, which stars J.K. Simmons. He's a UN agent who discovers the UN is hiding a gateway to a parallel dimension. So it's another sci-fi thriller, another show that seems to have a decent budget. And in the second episode, they've aired 3. And in the second episode, this Olivia Lucardi is changing while an agent is watching her. Another girl with an incredible rack, really hot. And then Olivia Williams, who you might remember for the great nude scene 20 years ago with Kevin Costner in The Postman, has sex with Nicholas Pinnock, and we get some boobage from her as she orgasms. So,
nice.
Yeah. So this Counterpart is looking like another great show with some good stuff. There are 3 episodes in last night or this weekend. Counterpart. A girl named Kadia Seraf, who she was a prostitute having sex with Harry Lloyd, and they were interrupted by a phone call and the whole thing. But she showed breasts, so we're really digging this Counterpart too. And a lot of people have been talking about it. So and I always think that that J.K. Simmons, he was the guy in Whiplash. Remember the bald crazy teacher in Whiplash, and he was also in one of our favorite shows, Oz, one of the wildest. He was the Nazi in Oz, and one of the craziest shows ever. But usually, if J.K. Simmons is in the show, he is. It's usually a pretty good show. So
it's going to be wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say what I'm seeing from Counterpart, the lighting is a little lower than you and I prefer.
Yes. Yeah, I'm a lighting fan.
Yeah, we can still see the goods.
Yeah.
So just warning the listeners now in case they want to go and see that epic nudity that we always like. It's a little low, a little dark, but you can still see it. And the highlights where the light hits are really good.
Oh yeah, it's really good. So Counterpart on Stars is another one we're tracking. So there's more stuff. There's another television.
Yay! Skin!
Wheel of Skin.
Yes.
I forgot about Wheel of Skin.
I love it. It's my fave.
This is where I am, of course, Pat say Jackoff. You, of course, are
Vadja White. You know this.
Vadja White, and this is a Merck and Griffin production. And this is where CP the EP, our executive producer of the podcast, he will spin a wheel and pull up a random actress from the database. I think we have over 27,000 actresses at MrSkin.com. And whatever name comes up here on Wheel of Skin, I will kind of riff on her skinography and tell you the best place to see her naked. And CP, go ahead and spin the wheel.
All right. And we have Jessica Chastain.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I know about her, but I don't know anything about her nudity. I'm dying to know.
She's pretty famous. I would say she's best known for Zero Dark 30. That's probably her go-to movie. I know she hosted SNL a few weeks ago too, so she must have something else out that she would be hosting the show. But she's about, I'd say she's she's probably hit 40 already. She's around 40. She's a redhead, Andrea, but a very good actress. I know
what
she
do you
was.
Mean, but a very good actress. Like redheads can't be good.
No, I'm just
she's
saying,
redheaded.
Don't hold
she's
that
a
against
good
her. Don't hold that against her. But she.
I would love to hold against her.
Yeah, she's. I think she was nominated for Best Supporting Actress for The Help. I don't think she won, but I think she was nominated. The Help from 2012, Best Supporting Actress. And Andrew, I have great news on Jessica Chastain, who I am a big fan of. She has been naked 4 times, but I have to say, that the movie that I recommend, if you want to see one Jessica Chastain movie, go see Jolene. Anytime you're in a movie and you're not a well-known actress, which she wasn't when this movie came out in 2008, and it's about a girl in a mental hospital who's hot, and there's an older woman at the mental hospital who wants to hook up with you. You figure that's going to be a good movie for nudity. But the movie's called Jolene, and Frances Fisher was kind of like her mentor in the mental hospital. They have this crazy hot lesbian sex scene, Cougar Kitten, and there was a ton of nudity in the locker room or in the shower, and pretty crazy stuff. So Jolene is my pick to click. You might also have heard of the movie The Zookeeper's Wife. Do you know that movie? You've heard of it. She was also
I don't know.
Yeah, she was topless in that. So I know now she's in Molly's Game. That's that new Aaron Sorkin movie where she plays a pro gambler. So she's getting bigger than big these days. And that's a great Wheel of Skin selection by CP. Thank you, sir.
And what is your theory on her? Do you think the more famous she's going to get, she might tone down the nudity, or do you think she's going to keep it about the same? Just based on your professional opinion.
Well, I think when you hit 40, you're usually on the downside of the nudity, So she could be a Nicole Kidman and go, with the red hair, big time actress, and still be doing great nude scenes into her, early 50s. But that's Nicole Kidman is
something
a rarity.
Else.
Yeah, she's a rarity. Her body's ridiculous. She's you saw her on Big Little Lies last year, and she looked awesome. So
and she's a freak too.
Yeah, so I don't know if we can expect that from Jessica Chastain, but it would be cool. But I can't. So don't hold your breath. That's a rarity. Yeah, so
that's fair.
Before we were rudely interrupted by the Wheel of Skin, I did want to mention a movie called Strike Back, or a television show called Strike Back, which is in its 6th season. And this is another show that a lot of people are really into. And what's interesting about Strike Back is it was always confusing because it used to air on the Sky Network in Europe, and then like there would be a delay and then it would air on Cinemax here. And now they're airing simultaneously. But here's the weird thing, and it kind of messed with us, is Strike Back always has had nudity through the years, but now the nudity, it's weird. The nudity on Cinemax is more graphic, and we had to change. So we would like sometimes just grab the stuff from Sky and put it at the website. And then we realized that, wait a second, they're showing more skin, or the scenes are extended, or the girls are getting more naked on the Cinemax version of the very same episode, that we ended up having to redo some of our pics and clips of Strike Back on the website, because it's a weird thing they just started doing. But anyway, nobody famous, Roxanne McKee and Alin Sumerwata were both naked recently, and really it's one of those shows that is just consistently through its 6 seasons. We've always gotten some good stuff, but this was a new twist, Andrea, that we were not. That sounds confusing. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Usually, it's the opposite. Like
exactly.
The European I remember like Monsters Ball.
Yeah.
As great as that sex scene is with Billy Bob Thornton and Halle Berry, that the European version of that same sex scene that you saw when you watched the movie in Europe or got the European DVD showed a little more Halle Berry. It was a little more graphic, and it was weird. It was like a different cut of the same scene. So we have the European version at our site, and now I'm seeing the opposit here with Strike Back, where
that's so weird.
Yeah, the American version has more sex. So this is just one of those things we have to really keep on our toes when it comes to nudity, because there's like your guys have to be dedicated to their craft, because this could easily have been missed. You grab the pics and clips from an episode and you think you're done, but a real guy dedicated to the nudity craft realizes that there's something's amiss when the Cinemax version has better nudity. So
I mean, this was crazy investigative work y'all did.
Yeah, skin investigative work on our part. So yeah. Before we go, there were a couple of little things I wanted to mention. These are on the not nude but very sexy list that's happened. For example, a week ago, Black Lightning, you might have heard of this show. They're 2 episodes into their first season on the CW, and Nafessa Williams and Shane Montpremier had this really hot lesbian scene. Now it's not nude because it's the CW, but this is a superhero show. Yeah. It's this new CW superhero show that's based on the DC Comics character of the same name, and the series is about this Jefferson Pierce who retired from superheroing like 9 years ago, but he's forced to revive his Black Lightning moniker due to a rise in gang violence. And this Nafessa Williams plays the daughter of Black Lightning, and she's kind of discovering her own powers, one of which is really good at going down on chicks, I guess. So it was pretty sexy stuff for the CW. Now I want to stress is there was no nudity here, but very sexy stuff from last Tuesday night on the CW, and I wanted to let you enjoy that because it was pretty. Maybe they'll call the daughter Pink Lightning.
Oh my God, you're so wrong. You're so right.
Yeah. Anyway, so and then one last thing I did want to mention, or 2 last things. One is Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which is another show on the CW. Now I've talked to you a little about this. It's been on for 3 years. They had their 10th episode on Friday night and of the 3rd season. And this Rachel Bloom, there was a scene where she lifted her shirt. You could see it in the pics I supplied you.
I'm looking.
She's got these big natural boobies, and
they're bombs.
She put them up her chest against a glass wall after getting into an argument with her boss, and it's a funny scene. But we got to get her to do a nude scene. She has yet, believe it or not, those have yet to be. Yeah, she did this musical production number once. I think it showed up on YouTube, but it was really funny. I know I watched. It was called Heavy Boobs. And doesn't she have heavy boobs? Like she made
They're
a joke.
so heavy. And this is a move. I know you have a name for it too, but when people smash their tits against glass, I call it presting.
Pressed mams, yes.
Yeah. It's so great. And you can tell just like the way they smash out and how big they get. I mean, they're big before she presses them in. And they're just,
I know. I
it's
just
like,
love
just
it.
take the bra off and do it, Rachel. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hot scene, and like I said, it's not nude, but this is just one of those things.
But we love it.
If you come to MrSkinPodcast.com or even just Mr. Skin and check out this Rachel Bloom just pressing her big boobed bra against the glass. This is definitely going to win an Anatomy Award. I just love that scene, and it's really awesome.
Yeah,
and I think she roomed in college with Ilana Glazer from Broad City, and they both have huge natural boobs. So I can't imagine what that's all about. But anyway, big Rachel Bloom fan, crazy ex-girlfriend, the CW. You got to see this scene from Friday night because it's awesome. It's not nude, but definitely worth checking out. So go look at that. And Andrea, one last thing before we go. HBO, there's going to be a new show debuting Sunday night because it never ends. Nudity never ends. And it's from Alan Ball. Remember that guy from 6 Feet Under? He did the show 6 Feet Under.
I love that show.
Yeah. True Blood. He has a show called Here and Now, which is going to star Tim Robbins and Holly Hunter, which my Skin Scouts tell me is going to have some nudity in the first few episodes. I don't know who yet, but
Tim Robbins, let's hope.
Yeah, well, I will keep you posted.
Holly Hunter's getting naked. Come on.
Yeah, well, Holly Hunter's been naked many times in her career.
That's
the piano, one of my favorites. But anyway, the guy that Alan Ball, 6 Feet Under, True Blood, everything he touches turns to nudity. The show's called Here and Now. It's going to debut on HBO Sunday night. So when we talk next week, I'll have a full rundown of that and all the other nudity because now the football's over. The Sunday night lineup will get it'll get good
even
again.
more packed, stacked, and juicy. Oh, I'm so excited for
juicy.
Sunday.
You got it.
You know how I like it. No, this has been such a great episode. You know, even with the Black Lightning and the Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, we learned that non-nudes can be just as hot. But of course, we like the nude stuff. Also, Altered Carbon on Netflix can alter your wiener when you see these naked babes. I mean, that was mind-blowing, dude, what I saw. And contrary to what Skin may have said earlier, redheads can be good actresses.
I didn't mean it that way.
I know. I'm teasing, but be phenomenally naked like Jessica Chastain. That was so much fun. This was episode 83. We're going to be back next week with more nudity, more good stuff, and Skin's doing all the hard work for you.
Yeah, and loving every minute of it.
So. You know it, baby. All right, have a good one.
Take care, Andrea.
This concludes another scintillating episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Subscribe to the Mr. Skin Podcast in iTunes and never miss a show. Thanks for listening.